Hello, farm members. Welcome to another edition of Locked In with Kim. I am so happy to be joined today by Phillip Blake with MBH Title. Phil, thank you so much for being here. And how are you and the family holding up?
We're doing, I guess, as good as can be expected. I think the kids are probably getting a little restless, trying to figure out what to do, day in and day out to keep themselves entertained. But they are learning how to play outside finally. So that's
Yeah.
good.
Yes. So I think my husband and I have decided that 4 weeks is our kids' maximum of togetherness before they start to sort of go off the rails. There's been,
Right.
yeah, we've had definitely some challenges the last couple of days. I think they're sick of each other. So I'm hiding in my son's room today to get away from the screaming downstairs.
Yeah.
But that's how it goes right now. And we also spend a lot of time outside. That's been a silver lining for sure.
Yeah. They definitely been outside more so, which is good. We've been social distancing within the house when they're not in the best of moods. So
yeah, exactly. So want to jump right into, from your perspective, from MBH's perspective, how are you all adjusting to the new rules, the new guidance, and what are your tips for agents on how to keep their businesses moving forward?
Well, we had to adjust like everyone else pretty quickly and on the fly and figure out how to meet the requirements of social distancing while continuing to do our business. And what we've done is we're now offering a kind of a slew of services that will allow buyers or sellers to execute documents and do business with us remotely if they so choose. So we're able to do e-closings, fully electronic closings now, assuming that the buyer's lender allows it, where all documents can be executed electronically, notarized electronically, and recorded electronically in the counties that allow it, which for the most part locally are all the counties with the exception of Spotsylvania County. We've been sending notaries to individuals' houses as they've requested it, which has been the biggest request we've had. Our mobile closings, buyers and sellers are just more comfortable sometimes in their own home or own location, not having to come into the office. So we've adjusted that way as well, and we can really accommodate most requests from buyers or sellers who do not wish to come into the office. The large majority of our closings are still in our office, and we've made adjustments to the office as well, mostly by removing pretty much everything so that we can disinfect the lobby area and conference rooms after buyers or sellers come in. All surfaces will wipe down, and we're also only allowing one group of individuals in the lobby at a time to keep individuals spread out and separated from each other. And when we do not have closings, that we're keeping the doors locked and asking individuals to place things through our drop box, dropping off checks and things of that nature.
Okay. So what about the banks? Are you seeing banks allowing the buyer side to do e-closings, or is that not so much on the buyer side?
There are a handful of banks that will allow it. For the most part, no. A lot of them have that in their pipeline. So we have done a full e-closing recently, and the banks that we have spoken with have said that they have it in the works. So that's something that I do see as we progress, and really just into the future in general, something that's going to happen more and more. But for right now, the majority of banks are not capable of handling e-closings. But again, I expect in over the next few weeks, more and more banks will come online with that, making it possible.
Okay. So what would you say are your top tips for agents to keep their closings on track?
Keep closings on track. I think that just communications with their client, if it's a buyer, communicate with the lender. Find out what new challenges they may be facing and how they could address those early in the transaction, especially with credit requirements tightening up over the last few weeks. Some buyer situations may change, and also plan in advance, final walkthroughs, things of that nature, to make sure that their clients' concerns are being addressed as far as social distancing goes. And also communicate with their client as to how the agent can accommodate them and address their concerns. What can they do virtually for them? For the most part, we haven't had a lot of transactions delayed. So it's mostly communicating and just figuring out what works for all parties involved, and addressing those type of issues or concerns earlier.
Okay. So the March numbers were pretty good. We just put those out earlier this week, and they're better than pretty good. They were really, really great. And from what we've heard anecdotally, business is pretty robust the first few weeks of April. Do you fear or anticipate a slowdown in that pipeline of contracts coming through?
Well, our numbers kind of mirror what you're seeing. March was very strong. The first 2 weeks of April to this point have been extremely strong year over year. We're seeing contracts up. But I've certainly heard from lenders that applications are slowing, that with the credit requirements tightening up, it's harder for them to qualify purchasers for loans. So yeah, I have an expectation of things to slow down in our market, but as far as what that means, I don't know. Things have been very good really throughout the second half through the first quarter of this year. So does a slowdown just put us back to relatively normal numbers from what we would see, or is it going to go beyond that? And I don't know. I'm not sure. I know we haven't seen anything to this point, but I also cannot imagine going through something like this with no impact to the real estate market whatsoever. So the hope is that when the slowdown does occur, it's just not to a level that's really going to be debilitating.
Right, that makes sense. Well, Phil, thank you so much. This is great information. We will make sure that we get it out and get a link to MBH when we put it out too. And thank you for keeping the business on track. I know we've got agents who want to sell houses, and you're on the other side to help them do it. So thank you so much, and I hope that we can see you again when this is all over.
Sure, great. Thanks, Kim.